David's men were wrong. The Lord did not say what they were saying God said. And the Lord nowhere in Scripture up to this point has said that he's going to give David's enemies into his hands. He has not actually said that. David's men were putting words into God's mouth. And they were doing so a bit like Saul does. Just in the last chapter in 1 Samuel 23, there's another verse here that's interesting. It says, now it was told Saul that David had come to Keilah. And Saul said, God has given him into my hand, for he has betrayed himself by entering a town that has gates and bars. So in other words, Saul says, the circumstances have shown that God is with me, and this is his will. Whether it's David's men or Saul, it's all too easy for us to read our desires and what's on our heart and read them into our circumstances. This is not a new story. It goes all the way back to the garden, right? You guys remember the serpent with Eve, and the serpent said, did God actually say? And that's where it begins, right? And then he starts manipulating Eve into thinking this fruit in front of her, it looks good. And also, it looks like it could make you wise. And God knows that. It's not actually a bad thing. And Eve starts saying, yeah, I see that the fruit does look pretty good. And it is desirable. And why would God not want me to be wise? And then she reasons that, well, this must actually be a good thing, though God has explicitly said, no, this is not a good thing. Don't do this thing. We can't take the cues from our circumstances to determine what God's will is for our life. We have to know what God has already said. And really, we have to know what God has not said. So somebody comes and says, wow, look, God's doing this, or he said this. Be like, no, that sounds awfully close, but that's not true.